Good day everyone, I am Leslie and I'm Luisaga from Bachelor of Culture and Arts Education 3 and I am going to report Lesson 4.1 Multicultural Literacy. Now, what is multicultural literacy? It refers to the skills involved when uncovering bias in regards to culture. It is the ability to understand and appreciate the parallels and differences between costumes, values, and beliefs of different cultures. Here are the importance of multicultural literacy. It serves as a powerful tool in enabling students to gain a better understanding of both their own culture and others. Through this deeper knowledge, relationships can be strengthened, bridging the gap between students from diverse cultural backgrounds. The skills and knowledge required for one to be multiculturally literate are not mere language skills, since it is assumed that some medium of communication already exists between two cultures. Rather, true multicultural literacy consists of perspectives, attitudes, and beliefs about other cultures that affect the manner in which we communicate and the motives behind our communication. Here are some examples. Number 1, be selfless. One that is less concerned with how I feel and more concerned with how I am making others feel. Pumapasok dito na ang example na mas iniisip mo ang iba kaysa sa iyong sarili. Next is know that good and useful things can come from those different from us. Acknowledging that good ideas and products have come from cultures we might not like. Hindi talaga maiwasan ang pagkakataon na may mga kultura tayong hindi nananais at hindi natin tanggap, pero mas isipin natin na may mga bagay na magaganda na nagmumula sa kanila. Number 3, be willing to compromise. A reciprocal adjustment of demands and expectations to accommodate that the other party is willing to give. Number 4, accept that there are limits. Accepting that what you want cannot be had from that particular source. So, pumapasok dito ang example na hindi lahat ng bagay na gusto mo ay makukuha mo. Let us now proceed to Lesson 4.1.1, Issues in Teaching and Learning Multicultural Literacy in the Philippines. A number of important issues stand in the way of Philippine educators attempting to learn multicultural literacy for themselves and teach it in turn to others, which are different from what can be found in Western literature, particularly those of the United States. First, we have conflicting requirements for peace. When all is said and done, the heart of multicultural literacy is peace among different cultures that is productive and non-violent interaction. Hindi basta-basta makakamit ang kapayapaan, dumadaan muna ito sa mga argumento at konflikt. Next is nationalistic and regionalistic pushback. The increasing demand for multicultural sensitivity, inclusion, and diversity in the recent years has also given rise to the resistance from groups who believe that their identity is being watered down by the needed compromises. The persistence of the problem. Something that is persistent continues to exist or happen for a long time, used especially about bad or undesirable states of situation. Pumapasok dito ang katanungang bakit nangyari ito o bakit nag-i-exist ang problemang ito. Last is the question of value. Another issue in teaching and learning cultural literacy is better posited as a question, why should I treat people of another culture with respect? Yes, tama yun na may isip natin na bakit nga kailangan nating irespeto ang culture ng iba. Let us now move on to Lesson 4.2, Globalization. Now, what is globalization? It is the process of interaction and the integration among people, companies, and governments worldwide. It has accelerated since the 18th century due to the advances in transportation and communication technology. It is primarily an economic process of interaction and integration that is associated with social and cultural aspects. There are some positive effects of globalization: access to new cultures. Globalization makes it easier than ever to access foreign culture including food, movies, music, and art. This free flow of people, goods, art, and information is the reason you can have Thai food delivered to your apartment as you listen to your favorite UK-based artist or stream a Bollywood movie. Number 2, the spread of technology and innovation. Many countries around the world remain constantly connected, so knowledge and technological advances travel quickly. Because knowledge also transfers so fast, this means that scientific advances made in Asia can be at work in the United States in a matter of days. Third is lower cost of products. Globalization allows companies to find lower cost ways to produce their products. It also increases global competition, which drives prices down and creates a larger variety of choices for consumers. Fourth is higher standard of living across the globe. Developing nations experience an improved standard of living thanks to globalization. According to the World Bank, extreme poverty decreased by 35% since 1990. Fifth, we have access to new markets. Businesses gain a great deal from globalization, including new customers and diverse revenue streams. Companies interested in these benefits look for flexible and innovative ways to grow their businesses overseas. Last, we have access to new talent. In addition to new markets, globalization allows companies to find new, specialized talent that is not available in their current market. Now, let us proceed to the negative effects of globalization. First, we have unequal economic growth. While globalization tends to increase economic growth for many countries, the growth isn't equal. Richer countries often benefit more than developing countries. Next, we have lack of local businesses. The policies permitting globalization tend to advantage companies that have the resource and infrastructure to operate their supply chains or distribution in many different countries, which can hedge out small local businesses. Next, we have exploits cheaper labor markets. Globalization allows businesses to increase jobs and economic opportunities in developing countries where the cost of labor is often cheaper. However, overall economic growth in these countries may be slow or stagnant. Next, we have causes job displacement. Globalization doesn't result in an increased number of jobs. Rather, it distributes jobs by moving production from high-cost countries to lower-cost ones. This means that high-cost countries often lose jobs due to globalization as production goes overseas. Let us now move on to Lesson 4.3, Global Literacy. So, what is global literacy? It aims to address issues of globalization, racism, diversity, and social justice. It requires awareness and action consistent with a broad understanding of humanity, the planet, and the impact of human decision on both. It also aims to empower students with knowledge and take action to make a positive impact in the world and their local community. Here are some characteristics of a global citizen. Number 1, respect for humans regardless of race, gender, religion, or political perspectives. Number 2, respect for diversity and various perspectives. Number 3, promote sustainable patterns of living, consumption, and production. Number 4, appreciate the natural world and demonstrate respect on the rights of all living things. I'll show you the interconnecting multicultural and global literacy, the OECD Global Competence Framework. Global competence is a multidimensional construct that requires a combination of knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values successfully applied to global issues or intercultural situations. Global issues refers to those that affect all people and have deep implications for current and future generations.
Global competence is a multidimensional construct that requires a combination of knowledge, skills, attitudes, and values successfully applied to global issues or intercultural situations. Global issues refer to those that affect all people and have deep implications for current and future generations. Intercultural situations refer to the face-to-face, virtual, or mediated encounters with people who are perceived to be from a different cultural background. So, this global competence is an understanding of how the world is organized and interconnected. So it brings awareness of the possibilities and constraints facing the world's people. So students who are globally literate are able to think critically about the world and the role that they play it in. So these students have an understanding of and appreciation for the different cultures, customs, systems, and relationships that exist throughout the world. So why is it important for students to develop global competence? So it can develop cultural awareness and respectful interactions in increasingly diverse societies, recognize and challenges cultural biases and stereotypes, and facilitate harmonious living in multicultural communities. Prepare for the world of work, which increasingly demands individuals who are effective communicators, are open to people from different cultural backgrounds, can build trust in diverse teams, and can demonstrate respect for others, especially as technology continues to make it easier to connect on a global scale. It capitalizes on inherently interconnected digital spaces, questions bias, media representations, and express their voice responsible online. Care about global issues and engage in tackling social, political, economic, and environmental challenges. So for this reason, embedding a global dimension in subject matter courses across the discipline, the approach we're taking at in this in the all of subjects so may have a special promise. So in for global education, embedding global content in the subject areas and developing a preliminary set of global literacy objectives to inform assessment and pedagogy, it should be understood that this is a work in progress. So we end by describing the steps we intend to take. So moreover, this is an only one piece of a broadened program of global education at our school. So what is innovative about the PISA 2018 Global Competence Assessment? So it defines and assesses global competence in a multidimensional way, recognizing students' social-emotional skills and attitudes as core indicators of global competence. In addition to their cognitive reasoning about global and intercultural issues, as the test focus only on the knowledge and cognitive skills, students need to confront problems related to global and intercultural issues. The student questionnaire collects information on student skills, both cognitive and socio-emotional, and their attitudes toward global and intercultural issues. So, dimensions of global competence implication to education. Global competence is the toolkit that a productive involved citizenry uses to meet the problems and opportunities of the world. A new generation of students requires different skills from the generation that came before. More than ever before, individuals' action reach around the globe. Global competence integrates knowledge of the world and the skill of application with the disposition to think and behave productively. So we believe that this assessment offers a tangible opportunity to provide the global community with the data it needs to build more peaceful, equitable, and sustainable societies through education. It will provide a comprehensive overview of education systems' effort to create learning environments that encourage young people to understand one another and the world beyond their immediate environment, and to take action toward building cohesive and sustainable communities. It will help the many teachers who work every day to combat ignorance, prejudice, and hatred, which are the root of disengagement, discrimination, and violence. So the assessment strategy for global competence is some have already raised concerns about the feasibility of measuring students' readiness to engage with the world through an international test. International comparisons are never easy and they are not perfect, particularly when it comes to measuring such complex competencies. But without quality data, it will be difficult to initiate a fruitful global dialogue about what works in education. So, skills to understand the world and to take action. Investigate the world, which is globally competent students are aware, curious, and interested in learning about the world and how it works. So recognized perspective is the globally competent. Students recognize that they have a particular perspective and that others may or may not share it. Communicate ideas. Globally competent students can effectively communicate verbally and non-verbally with diverse audiences and take action. Globally competent students have the skills and knowledge to not just learn about the world but also to make a difference in the world.